Ms. Crespo,
Yes, here.
Ms. D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
and Mr. Langley.
Yes. All right, we will move into close. We'll be back at 7:30.
So is this just like your previous?
is my gavel? We're very excited in the second row about the gavel. All right, I'll reconvene this meeting and roll call, please.
Ms. Brown? Here. Ms. Crespo?
Here.
Ms. D'Alessandro? Here. Mr. Frias?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
And Mr. Langley?
Here. Let's all rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Crespo, will you read the mission statement, please?
Yes, I will. The River Edge School District is a partnership of students, parents, staff, and community members. We are dedicated to providing a supportive environment in which all students can reach their maximum academic potential while developing as responsible citizens who respect individuality. Our goals will be achieved because curriculum and instruction are aligned with the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. All decisions reflect the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs of pre-K to 6th grade students. Cooperation and ongoing communication exists between the school district and the community. School administrators and the Board of Education work together to assess and adjust procedures in response to new mandates and the changing needs of the community.
Thank you. Open public meetings notice.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting, its date, time, and place have been delivered to the Post Office Municipal Building, the record, and posted on the district website at least 48 hours prior to the time of this meeting.
Thank you. Move on to the first item on the agenda, which is the math awards.
Hello. Nancy Hafer, thanks for having me back. Is that better? Okay. Hello, Nancy Hafer. Thank you for having me back to celebrate some more great student achievement. So tonight I am here to share the Perennial Math Award contest, which is a new and old contest. I did it many, many years ago, stopped for a bunch of years, and we just reintroduced it again this past fall. So the Perennial Math Contest a different format than we've had in the past. It's only 6 questions. I shouldn't say only because they're pretty tough and challenging. The kids have 30 minutes to do it. And so we just got all the final recognition and honors for the fall season, which was those 4 months that I just mentioned. And we'd like to honor those students today who achieved an honor roll status on the entire season. So this is their cumulative over the 4-month tests. And that means that they scored in the top 10% of everyone who took the contest in the nation. So very impressive. So we're here to celebrate those children. So first up from Roosevelt School, and I have a certificate and it's a little dog tag, but that's your medal for your achievement. So first up from Roosevelt School, we have John Lee. So we're going to take a photo op. So you would like to hand them out, sorry. So come on, we're going to take a picture as well. So there's your medal, okay. We also have Nathan O. Nathan, is here. Here's his medal. You can hand him. There's your medal. And then we have Crit and Danasakaran. Come on down. Here, I'll let you hand those out. So why don't you move over, and then we're going to call up 3 Cherry Hill students. We can take a picture all together. Or do you want separate pictures? Do you care? Okay. So why don't you pop over there, and then pop over there, and then we'll do the Cherry Hill students. And then we also have 3 students from Cherry Hill. We have Thea Chung. That's her medal. Excellent. We have Jaden Ma. And I'm not sure if he's here. There he is. Albert Lin. Come on down, Albert. Yep, can you scoot by me that way? There you go. Collect all, Albert, turn around. They have it. Right here.
There you go.
Let's go over there and take a picture. Go there. Thank you.
All right, everyone scooch that way a little bit. Why don't you guys get in the picture? Go, get in the picture. Yeah, let's get Denise and Nick up there too. Yeah, get the principals in there. Come on. Okay, I'll get in the pack.
Like the Met gown. You done?
Yeah, I think we're required to. Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the public hearing on the budget. Yeah, we'll go up on the, we'll move it out of the way.
Tonight, we're going to present the final 25-26 school budget. This is the final vote on the budget. We already had done a full presentation on the proposed school budget, and now we're going to do our final presentation, and then it will be submitted and finalized for the county tomorrow. The county has approved this budget. Did you want to do?
It's okay. Good evening, everybody. This is the River Edge mission statement. We read it at the beginning of every board meeting, so I don't think we need to read it again, but there it is. These are some points of pride. We do many things well here in River Edge, as everyone is well aware. I think one of the things I'd like to highlight, and I have before, the data structures that we employ here in River Edge are probably some of the more robust that I've seen, and I've gone through that before. And I think it's one of the things that leads to River Edge's success on standardized testing. As you all know, this is standardized testing season, and we're in the throes of testing even today. But it's one of the things that we do well. That data feeds the win decisions, and that data feeds the PDIA decisions, and that data also helps the Gifted and Talented program not only make selections, but also enhances the program based on the data that we collect. And we just had some recipients of math awards here tonight. So I think that this is a very modern and thoughtful way to go about educating students, and I think River Edge does it very well. These are some of the other things that in many ways exceed some of the things that we do during the course of the school day, including the family nights, which, by the way, the family nights are very well attended. I'm always very impressed with the attendance. Not only the activities were well thought out and well planned by the faculty, but I am always impressed by the line of people that line up to come back to the family nights. And that just speaks to the kind of commitment that the parents have to their child's education. And I think that is also one of the things that adds to the success here in River Edge. We have the STEAM program, which probably is something that we can enhance in the future. It's not in the budget for this year. It's mostly status quo. It is funded for this year as it exists, but we know from the strategic planning that technology and science is something that the community, the parents, those folks who, 490 folks who responded to the survey would like to see enhanced or focused on. So it's something that we need to consider for next year. The Shark Tank, which it's just another example of a project-based type learning that goes on. The Shark Tank, I'll call it a capstone experience for the sixth grade. It's so entertaining, first of all. I think I did a terrible job at Shark Tank as a judge. Mr. Langley was much better at it than I was. And then we have many different endeavors for the faculty going on. I think the commitment to professional learning here, we're going to spend quite a bit of money next year. Some of it we spend out of this year, but you're looking at over $50,000 in the next, we'll say, calendar year spent on professionally developing the faculty on the math program. And this is it's a new endeavor, but one thing that I think is highly important is to make sure that folks are prepared for new programs. So K-3 is going to be rolling out next year. We even had the professional developer here today. By front-loading some of this professional development, it gives time for these concepts and the program to kind of fester in the minds of the teachers between now and September 1 when they're expected to deploy it. When we did 4-5, we didn't have that kind of time. I think the rollout will be much more smooth for K-3 because we have this prior commitment to professional development. Plus, the resources are available, which they some of them were, but widely weren't when we did 4-5, because it's a new program, right? So it was being developed. But now everything is ready to go, and teachers already have resources in their hands to look at, and we're already beginning the professional development. That will continue not only through the summer, but all throughout next year. Okay, that was a lot.
What is the school budget? The school budget reflects the educational priorities of the district. It's an action plan. It's aligned with the Board of Ed goals, aligned with our strategic plan, aligned with our long-range facilities plan, which is our buildings and grounds plan. It provides accountability to the taxpayers and develops a framework for our spending priorities. It satisfies all the state and federal mandates, and it does require NJDOE approval, and which was granted. The budget process starts really July 1, which is the beginning of our fiscal year. When we meet with the administrators, we look at the curriculum committee, personnel and management committee, and various other stakeholders and look for additional revenue sources. We identify the capital improvements. What do our buildings need? We know that we did a boiler project. We're doing a boiler at Roosevelt and a roof replacement. We're doing a boiler project this summer at Cherry Hill. So the buildings do need to be kept up, and those are the capital improvements that we're doing. Administration and Finance Committee meets multiple times to discuss this. We present and vote on the tentative budget after the state aid is released, which is what we already did. And now this is the full budget at the public hearing and vote that's going on this evening. One of the things that you look for in a budget is how you're saving money, and that's by doing shared service, kind of economies of scale for a school system. We have Region 5 Special Education, which has transportation and does our related services. We work in conjunction with the Borough of River Edge for snow removal and gas. We belong to Northeast Bergen County School Board's insurance, which is NESBIG, which you're approving actually on the agenda tonight to stay with them. Ed Data Services is how we buy our school supplies each year. Alliance for Competitive Energy, which is ACES, it's gas and electric. We do that in a cooperative with a group of other schools. Bergen County Technical Services, we use Bergen Tech for our higher level technology. ESC&J and PEPM, which are state contracts, which allows us to buy supplies. And as you know, we have our SLEO 3 officers in conjunction with the Borough of River Edge in both of our buildings. We're lucky enough to have 2 officers on the grounds each day with police cars. This is a projection of our revenues. So it shows last year and what we're projecting for next year. The tax levy is projected to go up. It's projected to go up 4.49%. Usually you can only go up 2%, but we had a health care adjustment, which we were allowed to take, of $444,000. That was for the massive state health benefits increase. So that is a separate resolution on the agenda as part of the budget. We have tuition and miscellaneous revenues, our pre-K tuition, our interest on investments. That number you can see went up. We've been able to take some of our capital reserve money and put in jumbo CDs for 4% interest over a number of months, because we had money in cap reserve from prior year, and we were able to put it aside and be able to use a CD vehicle to earn interest, which will help us do more projects, hopefully, right? Budget is fund balance. That's the number you keep from each year's budget to fund your next year's budget. We have extraordinary aid, transportation aid, special ed aid, and then you might want to see the equalization aid, which last year we got $1.9 million, and this year we got no monies in that category. So we did have some aids cut, we had some aids increase, but overall we had a decrease in our aids. We still do have our federal grants, which is the ESEA and the IDEA, and then you have your taxes for debt service. That's for the referendum monies for the bonds that were put aside. So those monies for NBC in this building that we're still paying for, and we'll talk about that later in a later slide. Additional sources of revenue, we get a fee from Region 5 for being the LEA. We have tuition revenue from out-of-district students. We have a preschool program. AlphaBest, our before and after school program, does give us a fee. The interest from the jumbo CDs that I spoke about, obviously our very generous PTO, who gives us numerous contributions in both of our schools. And then using grants. This year, for this year, there was only the high impact tutoring grant, but in the past we've had ROD grants and numerous other grants available to us, and we've taken advantage of them. The cost per pupil in 25-26 is proposed is $18,287. That's the amount of money spent on education for each student. This is a formula that's put out by the state each year that shows us, so the average was $20,154. So that means that we're doing a good job with the money that we have educating our students, so we're below the average. These are our expenditures kind of in a nutshell. So it shows the 23-24 year, 24-25, and then the percentage of change in 25-26 for our programs. And so you'll see some categories have gone higher, some lower, based on the items that make up those combined, they're compressed line items. At the end of the day, the revenues obviously have to equal the expenditures. this is a picture of talking about our capital reserve. So having money for capital reserve is very important. Monies have to be set aside because we, as a school, have no way of getting any additional monies if something happened within the school. You don't have any way of funding. We can't float a bond. Everything has to go out to vote. So you have to be a good caretaker of the money and make sure you have money put aside to, for fixing up the buildings and different things that we need to do. Like I said, we have a long-term bonds, long-term debt, which are the bonds for building our building that we're in right now for NBC. They will be expiring in 31-32. We don't have what the debt service aid from the state is, but that's the payments. Our state aid in 24-25 was reduced by $516,000. Our state aid this year was reduced by another $97,848. So you can see that while in 18-19 we had an amount of state aid, we were given additional state aid because we were deemed to be an underfunded district. So we'd been doing a lot with less money, and now the pendulum is going in the other direction. So now that we're funded, we're getting less money also. Unfortunately, we're getting less money, but actually being asked to do more with those funds that we have as far as curriculum, staffing, and educating our students. Why did we lose state aid? This is something that we talked about a lot last year. The tax base of River Edge grew significantly. The home values went up 10.5%, and the income went up 13.3%. So the state has a formula that they called the fair share for the district. Unfortunately, the taxpayers don't have a mechanism to give more than the 2%. The health care adjustment was one mechanism that we can use, but there is no way to get to the taxpayers, even if they wanted to give more money in their taxes. The other part of our funding is census data, which shows our enrollment over the years. We also had a demographic study done to look at our enrollment, and it was pretty much on par to where we actually are. So in some years it has actually gone up. It plummeted, as you see there, right after COVID, and went up slightly, and then it seems to be going back down. As you all know, as members of River Edge, the homes were just reassessed here. Last year, in my presentation, I represented to you as part of our slideshow was that the average assessed home in River Edge was $397,000. Well, after you all had the reassessment this year, the average assessed home is $675,360. We went, as I said, our school tax levy increase at 4.49%. Would be the tax impact for the average assessed home would be $49.20. I'd like to, if anyone has any questions, the budget is posted on the district website at that link. And if anyone would have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them before we vote later on the agenda.
Any questions from board members? Comments?
If I can make a comment, sir.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at the treasurer's report, which you all have, we have $4 million in capital reserve, which is healthy. It's not enough to build a new building or anything like that, but it's healthy, and I think that it's probably about where it should be. We should probably have a little bit more money in there, and this year we'll have an opportunity at the end of the fiscal year to deposit some money in there. It won't be as much as last year. I think something to keep in mind is if you looked at the presentation, we had $500,000. We like to keep it around $500,000 from last year funding this year and this year funding next year. That's probably a pretty good number. We need to be able to generate that much money from the previous year, from this year, so that we could fund $500,000 of next year's budget. that's a pretty good number for a district both this size and whose budget is about this big. I would not want to see that have to go higher, and I think any lower probably won't be necessary in the next few years. However, one thing we have to be mindful of is as we have to take on more expenses, so this year was a massive health benefits increase. And keep in mind that the faculty and employees also feel that because they pay a percentage of the premium. So just like the district has to pay more, so do the employees. So where last year, if you looked at the audit, we had $2 million in surplus, and we pushed some of that into capital reserve. It's going to be much less this year because we had to absorb a lot more of that state health benefits increase. That it was unexpected to go up that high. So we needed to find the money somewhere, and of course Luann was able to figure that out. But it means that there'll be less money in surplus in December when they report again. That number is going to be diminished from what we saw this December from the auditor. So the district is financially healthy. We have capital reserve. We have about a little more than $300,000 in maintenance reserve. These are healthy numbers. Reserves aren't the best place to always have money because it's harder to get that money out of there, right? We need a motion and resolutions, and capital needs to be for capital. Maintenance needs to be for maintenance, and we really aren't allowed to spend that money on anything else unless it's some kind of dire emergency, and then we can get some kind of dispensation from the state. But in the end, these are reliable places to place money so that when it comes time, and the facilities are getting older, there are lots of needs. We got a report on the roof this week. We had a roof assessment done. There's roof work that has to be done in the next few years. We are going to start having to spend some of that capital. The other option is we are going to have to ask the taxpayer to float a bond, and I don't know where we're going to end up on that, and we don't have a real strong sense of how much longer the roofs are going to last in their current states. I did ask Mr. Cabrera. We don't have any current leaks, but sometimes you don't want to wait for the ship to start sinking before you start patching the holes, right? So we have to be mindful of the fact that there are even though we did boilers, we didn't do control systems for the heat. So there are efficiencies that can be gained by overhauling these control systems, but those control systems are wildly expensive. So where we have some money in capital reserve and where the district this is a good, the school budgets are always tenuous, right? What's a good school budget? I don't know what the definition of that is, but this is keeping things status quo for next year. However, in the coming years, we're going to be faced with large facility bills of things that really need to be done, and diminishing capital reserve to zero is not a good practice. We're going to have to find other ways to generate money to be able to start doing these projects. So I just feel like it's important to have that conversation now, because 2 or 3 years from now, we might need $2 million to do a roof or the roofs on, let's say, just this building or something. And we're going to be looking for that money. And if health benefits continues to increase, if we're limited still to 2% with health benefit waivers or whatever, the health benefit waiver that we took is not enough to cover the entire bill. It's not available. There's just not that, we're just not allowed to reach out and take the money that we lost this year or that we plan on losing next year. So it's important we talk about these things now early while while there are no seemingly fiscally dire issues. However, we know on the horizon that there's some stormy weather, and I think preparing for it now is the way to do that. And this budget does the best it can to do that.
All right. We can turn this projector off, right? Okay. All right, so moving on to the next item. This is related to the budget, but separate. The public hearing on superintendent's contract. I'll read it just so it's in the record for the public to hear. This change adds the accumulated sick bank of 45 days to the superintendent's contract as permitted by NJSA 18A 30-3.2, credited with unused sick leave. Any bank's sick leave days remaining at the end of the superintendent's retirement shall not be eligible for reimbursement. Any questions or discussion on that?
If I could, sir, it's a separate bank from the sick days that I get. I get 12 a year, I believe, by contract. That's a separate bank. That's a separate accumulation. This bank will, they're going to account for it completely separately.
Right.
And these days diminish up against the 12 that I get it annually. So hopefully by the time I am eligible for retirement, these days will all be diminished, and the other bank will have an equivalent number of days.
Right. Okay.
I thank the board for considering this.
We'll open it up for public comments on the school budget, the superintendent's contract, and agenda items only. Seeing that there is nobody here for the comment, we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. We had a lot of presentations tonight, so I will keep this short. It's nearing the end of the school year, and at the end of the school year, we have testing season. So we're amid testing season. As you know, NJSLA tests our 5th grade students in science. It tests our 3rd grade through 6th grade students in both mathematics and language arts. We've been preparing for these all year. Our curriculum is standards-based, and the tests are designed, the assessments, I should say, are designed to test those standards. So we are taking the assessments now through basically the end of the month. It's spaced out. It is computer-based now. I'm sure everyone here took these tests in some way, shape, or form, but we did them on paper. These are now entirely computer-based tests. So it is important that the platforms, our computer platforms perform. I'd like to thank both the technology department and Brooke Geller, our supervisor of assessment, special projects, and innovation. They were able to conduct the infrastructure trial. That's when we what we do is we max out the bandwidth, essentially, of the district. We try to break the system during that trial. And thankfully, we have enough bandwidth where it didn't break. It did get close for the record when they reported the results to me. I'm like, wow, that's pretty close to the limit. But we never exceeded it, which is a good thing. So it's also artificial. In no way, shape, or form is every student in the district taking the test at the same time during the testing session. So what we do is we artificially create a demand on the system so that should every student be taking the test at the same time, which is not realistic, could we technically do it? And the infrastructure trial answers the question. And this year, thankfully, the question was yes, and we can move on. We're also making, to support this effort, we're making a large investment in Chromebooks this year based on monies that we already have. These Chromebooks have a lifetime of about 5 years, they tell us. So we have some Chromebooks that are A, exceeding that, B, meeting that this year, and so what would that be, A, B, C, getting very close. So a large investment in Chromebooks this year so that we can retire some ancient ones that don't work and can't even support some software that the teachers use to instruct. So we're going to age those out. We'll put them on Gov Deals. Maybe we'll get like $1 a piece for them. I don't know if anyone wants a 7-year-old Chromebook, but if there are anyone who can use it, they can get them off of Gov Deals. And then the balance of them will be new, and those new ones I think are going to be deployed 3 through 5. No, it's more than that. I'll update you on that when we get them. So there's that, and those Chromebooks will help support the testing effort, and that's kind of the point. We need to be ready for this for the testing each year. There are, as we get towards the end of the year, there are a number of events. I'm trying to keep the board up to date. I think my last update didn't have the calendar of events, but I'll continue to put that in my updates to the board so that you folks can follow what's coming up and when certain ceremonies are, and if you want to attend those, of course, you're always welcome. There's also a number of evening activities that wax and wane throughout the course of the school year. There is an asbestos removal on the in section G on buildings and grounds. This was when we did the boiler project here, we discovered that there was a little more asbestos than they initially thought. This doesn't meet the threshold for any further notice. It's a rather small amount. It's just on the seals. In fact, we went and checked it out today. Not that we went and tasted it or anything, but we went to go see where it was, and it is there, and that's why that 40,000 is there. Well, and that is going to also be submitted with the ROD grant according to this.
That's correct.
So we're looking. We might get a percentage of that back when 40% of that back. So it has to be done anyway. So that's why that's on there. I just wanted to talk about it for a bit. There's a number of personnel appointments. We have some new folks joining the team here, and then we're also reappointing tenured and non-tenured employees, both certificated and non-certificated. Tonight, there are the Summer Academy. I had a meeting today with Ash Adiamo, and she's the supervisor of the Summer Academy, and those plans are going well. We're going to advertise it for, there'll be a flyer that goes out, and folks can, we aren't quite sure what the demand signal is yet. I wanted to add a science and technology component, but I don't know if the demand is there. So there'll be a survey that will go out to River Edge parents, and if the demand signal is there, we're going to partner with Ramapo College, the Meadowlands Environmental Center. I've worked with them before. Full disclosure, I'm a graduate of, one of my graduate degrees is from Ramapo, and I maintained a relationship with, and I used to work there as well, but not anymore. So they do a nice job, and if there is a demand from the community, then we'll look to partner with them. So I'm excited about the summer program. And the balance of the agenda is pretty standard. That concludes my report.
Board Secretary report?
Yes, one of the items too on the agenda, just to add to what Dr. Bernice already said, is an approval of a donation from Regal for additional work on the batting cages. We just want to say thank you to them for continuing to support the fields and for our facilities for the students. The other thing is the approval of membership in NESBIG, which is our JIF insurance fund. Dr. Bernice mentioned the abatement, and also, obviously, H1 is the approval of the 25-26 final budget that we just went over.
Thank you. President's report, I don't have anything tonight, so we'll move on to committees. We have Finance and Facilities first.
The Finance and Facilities Committee meeting was April 21st from 7 to 8:02. The attendees were myself, Mr. Frias, Mr. Langley, Dr. Bernice, and Ms. Napolitano. We discussed the update on the boiler project and the heating units. Small heating units were purchased to warm up the classrooms. The custodians were arriving early at the school to ensure that the classrooms were warm enough for the students. The ROD application was also submitted. We do have some updates with Alphabest, who will be continuing with us in the next year. We do have some updates on field improvements. There was some aeration and seeding that was completed, and some discussion on the Roosevelt batting cages. The 25-26 final budget approval, which Luann just discussed. Region 5 update on RFP for billing services for Hopestone budget. And policies will be coming up shortly. Next meeting will be, I don't know, I have May 12th, which is not possible. Is it really?
I think so.
Really?
May 12th?
May 12th.
Like next week, May 12th?
I think so.
Didn't we just meet? Okay,
Yeah.
next meeting
Yeah,
will be
right.
May 12th.
It does feel that way. We had spring break in there.
Correct.
Oh, no,
Okay,
we
that's
did
why
have
I
on the
didn't think it
21st.
was correct.
We'll figure it out. We
Okay,
need to-
thank you.
We
All right.
just for the board's edification, C&I is booked for 4:30, personnel management 5:30, and finance and facilities is for 7. We can change any of those if we need to, certainly.
We have things to talk about. Thank you. We'll move on to personnel and management.
The Personnel and Management Committee met on April 23rd from 5 to 6 p.m. with Mr. Sim, myself, Mr. Langley, Dr. Bernice, and Ms. Napolitano. We discussed the final budget, which was presented tonight. We reviewed the tenured and non-tenured staff in general terms, numbers of staff that will not have their contracts renewed, non-tenured staff that have resigned, tenured staff that we were appointed, and temporary leave replacements. We received the administrative contract, and we discussed briefly some of the components that were included in there. And on the docket for the next meeting is to continue to dive into the policies, and our next meeting will be on May 12th at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you. All right, moving on to items to be acted upon. I'll do the amendment when we get there. Yeah, okay. Before we vote on it, though, we have to amend it.
Move second.
Move to amend. You can amend in the discussion, or we have to amend it first and then vote on it?
There needs to be a motion on it first.
Gotcha.
Then we can, in discussion, make a motion to table the item.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And then you need a motion and a second to table the item.
Right. Okay, we'll cross that bridge. All right. Can I get a motion for item D1? He moved
To
it.
approve D1, second.
A second. Any discussion? No. Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro? Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I get a motion for items E1 through 7?
What's the procedure if you want to adjourn for a moment to have a discussion about
Oh,
the E1?
can I get a motion to adjourn?
Can I have a motion to adjourn? These are new, these are new.
You can go into closed.
These are new.
No.
Second
They-
reads.
Second, okay, that's, you're not super
We can take a 5-minute if you want.
You want to? Okay, never mind.
We're good? All right, we'll separate it out
You can,
anyway.
you can also abstain if you
Yeah, I will-
That's what I said.
I'm gonna separate it.
See if it was
Yeah.
just more than one.
So can I have a motion for item E1?
Move to approve item E1 as stated.
Second.
Any other discussion? No. Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Abstain.
Ms. Crespo?
Abstain.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for E2 through 7?
E2 through 7 as stated. Move to approve E2 through 7 as stated.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for F1 and 2?
Move to approve items F1 and 2 as stated.
Second.
Discussion?
If
Roll.
if I may.
Sure.
Ms. Geller and Ms. Moran and I were selected to present at this particular conference, which is going on Thursday afternoon. Very excited about that. We are currently working on it, and we'll be ready to go for next week. But it's quite a it's nice to be selected because there's many. I understand that there's many proposals every year, and to be asked, we threw in a proposal about leadership and developing the rising tide of leadership in education. So they thought they'd want to hear from us about that. So, very happy to be presenting.
Nice. That's awesome.
Make us proud.
Great. Do we do roll call, please?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for G1 as stated?
Move to approve item G1 as stated.
Yes. Second.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. Let's see, can I have a motion for items A 1 through 9?
H.
H 1 through 9.
Motion to move items H1 through 9 as stated.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for item I1?
Move to approve I1, approval of appointments.
Second.
We need to amend this one. There is an item on the list, item H, that we need to table, one of the appointments. It's on the list, but we need further review of that particular item. Can I have a motion and a second to table item H?
Move to approve, to table items,
It's just
H.
item H.
Item H.
I1H.
item I1H.
Yeah.
And approve the remainder. Yes.
I think
We
we
need to do that
I think
separately.
it's
We'll do
separately.
that
We need to
separately.
table it.
Okay, table it first.
So move to approve the table I1H.
Second for that.
And second for that. All right. Roll call, please, on the table.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. And now, can I get a motion to approve the rest of it? Every item I1H with the tabled item removed.
Move to approve section I with the tabling of I1H.
A through G, and then I and J.
Yes.
Yes. Can I get a second?
Yes, I am.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. All right. Can I have a motion for items I2 through 24?
Move to approve items I2 through 24 as stated.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for items J1 and 2?
Move to approve items J1 and 2 as stated.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. Can I have a motion for items K1 through 17?
Motion to approve items K1 through 17.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes. Does anyone have any old or new business?
I just wanted to wish all of our teachers a happy Teacher Appreciation Week, and as well as our school nurses. Today's
Nurses.
School Nurse Day. So, Teacher Appreciation, Nurse Appreciation. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you.
Great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Second.
Nice. All right, I'll open up for public comments on non-agenda items only. Seeing as there are none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Who moved and who seconded? I'm sorry.
Move second.
I moved.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Crespo?
Yes.
Ms. Delisandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And Mr. Langley?
Yes. All right, we will be back on May. Oh, is that what you did? Oh, what's the next one? May 28th. We'll be back on May 28th. Thanks, everybody.